Yeah, yeet! Welcome back, everyone, to the Sauce Wrestling Show. As always, I am Noah G, and with me, as always, my three fellow horsemen of the sauce. To my left, I pointed the right way this time. JDP, the Jack Attack. With me, as always, making his second week since our long hiatus, our second return, or his second return. I'm already starting with the botches, guys.
Botch!
The host of the sauce, Pete Moss. And ladies and gentlemen, the walking thesaurus of wrestling himself, Noah Foster.
I would
Guys,
just like to say something.
okay.
This needs to get out in the open because there's people who dispute it. Taco Bell sauce packets and their grocery store bottled equivalents are not the same thing, and anyone who believes that is lying to themselves.
Starting off bold today, aren't we, boys? We're starting off big.
Hey, Alex,
like to
what's
see.
your thoughts on that? Good grief.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not a Taco Bell expert. I will say this, though. Recently, there's been two things. There's two things I'll mention. One, I came up, so Heinz Ketchup, the ketchup company, basically had the brilliant idea of mixing ketchup and ranch together and calling it Cranch. I've been doing that since 6th grade. Where the hell is my paycheck? They owe me some money. I've been calling the mixture of ketchup and... I've been calling it that since 2006.
You should have sent them that.
My dad practically invented mayo, Chup.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm not doing Will Ferrell justice. It's actually fancy sauce.
And then on top of that, you know how Twix has their whole left Twix, right Twix, bull crap commercials. I went on Twitter and says your guys' advertisements suck. Change it. And I did that on Halloween last year. And they went on Twitter and said, "Happy Halloween to you too, Noah."
There you go.
Respond back.
How fitting we start this conversation talking about
condiments and sauces aside. Play on words. Side, guys, we got to get right into it. This week has been an action-packed week full of just good, plain wrestling. And we're going to start it off the same way we did last week. Each of us has our own 5-minute time limit to talk about each other's or one another's shows that we were paying attention to this week. Obviously, as you can see behind me, mine was NXT. And if it's all right with you, gentlemen, I'll start. First thing I want to mention, we had the host of the upcoming Halloween Havoc, Shotzi Blackheart, going up against Candice LeRae again. If I'm not mistaken, that's who she faced. I had a little bit of memory loss this week since Wednesday, guys. It was Candice, right?
Correct. You are correct.
Candice LeRae.
One thing that really stood out to me in that match, it was a solid match. One thing that really stood out to me is the fact that Shotzi went above and beyond, did a fucking back handspring on her tippy toes into a submission and put Candice into a unique submission maneuver that I'd never seen before. That was pretty lit. Came up short, obviously, because she's the host of Halloween Havoc and they're pushing Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano for some obscure reason. But apparently they're over as heels. Anywho, we can get into that later. And then probably one of my highlights of the whole night. Damn near stopped my watch. My watch literally stopped ticking. It said, I looked at it and I'm like, what the hell? And it said, it's Tony time. Tony motherfucking Storm shows up on my television, on our televisions, returns and makes her debut in the flagship NXT against Aaliyah with Robert Stone ringside. Man, if this is not a way of just a classic way of getting a talent over, there was no long promos by her. There was no interview segment, none of that bullshit, just a classic match and she won. So it's just, in my opinion, that it was a classic straight up. This is how you begin to build a character. It's a good, what do you call it? It's a good, not a squash match. That's the wrong term to use. It was a good enhancement match. So this is basically enhancing her character and building her up from the ground up because she's starting on a new brand. Let's see. Next thing on the docket is The Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory match. I thought personally, I liked it. I thought it was a solid match. And on top of that, even though we had Johnny Gargano coming out on top as the victor, you saw that look that he gave back at Austin Theory. Austin Theory, even though he lost, went over in that match. I'm going to be honest with you, it's been a long time coming for him. I think still young, promising prospect in Austin Theory. I just think they just need to develop his character. And give him a character instead of this cocky look at my body like he's the situation from Jersey Shore. You know, like that's you know, they just need to work on him, obviously.
I didn't know
Then the main event
until just now.
And then the main event, we had Damian Priest defending the North American Championship against, damn it, it's the memory loss again, against
Dexter Loomis.
Dexter Loomis. And to me, it was like I couldn't necessarily tell. I could tell that Priest was just the ultimate baby face. Well, not the ultimate baby face, but it was like he was, you know, over. They were trying to make it seem like he was the baby face in that match. And then Dexter Loomis is basically just like you can't understand him because he's a freak who just stares at you. And he's misunderstood, kind of like the Fiend. I definitely got a Fiend vibe during that match from him. Also a kind of a kin to something Undertaker and Kane did back in the day. And then, if I'm not mistaken, we also had an we had, and then how the match actually ended was Cameron Grimes got involved. And Damian Priest basically beats the crap out of him too, and he's like, I don't need you in my business. And then he gets attacked by Johnny Gargano. So all in all, solid night on Wednesdays from NXT. NXT definitely delivered this week. And we also have to look forward to Halloween Havoc with Shotzi Blackheart basically giving us back the Wheel of Doom for the match stipulations that whole night with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae in their respective matches. So solid night. I got a little bit more time. Anybody else have any thoughts about if they caught NXT this week?
I got something to ask you about NXT UK, if you by chance caught it. What did you by chance think about that promo from Jordan Devlin? If you saw it.
You know what? I must have been blinded. I was pulled away for some reason. I missed it. What did he say? What did he say? Because I feel like he's a former champion, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He
NXT Cruiserweight
technically
champion.
is the current champion. We're getting
A real champion.
And honestly, like I'll say this, you know, that angle, you know, on one hand, the angle might be somewhat played out, but at the same time, it's the one thing that makes sense to do. He basically was talking about how they changed the branding during the tournament so you could stop saying the word interim. And that was something I didn't expect him to bring up. And he was basically like, did you think I wasn't going to notice you do that? Like, I'm still here. And
right.
He basically cut this very passionate promo and like was showing him like throwing the chair at the TV, and like he ripped off his mic at the end of the promo. It was really, I can't remember like
okay,
quoted word for word, but it was really good.
That to me sounds like it's basically breaking the fourth wall. But no, I'm gonna have to check that out. And anybody who can get the championship off of what's his face, Santos Escobar and whatever the name of their group is.
Legado del Fantasma.
He's probably going to go after Swerve first. Swerve is probably going to be the one to take it off of Santos, honestly.
This guy pisses me off and makes me want to change the channel. I mean, it's like I don't give a damn. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Now, moving on to Raw and SmackDown. Oz, you're up, big boy.
Well, so this past week we had a continuation of the draft, and you know, most of the important things that happened from the draft, as much as I don't like to, you know, make those jabs, like it didn't really stick out to me. It is what it is. One thing that did stick out to me more than anything else, this person was kind of labeled as dead in the water for the past couple months, but I think this particular thing made people question whether or not that was actually the case, and that was the #1 draft of the night being the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And also, obviously, with that also came Alexa Bliss, who in tow delivered dual Sister Abigails to Zelina Vega and Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade's status is a little bit up in the air right now. And it's one of those things where it's like I've said before, this is probably the best work that Alexa Bliss has done in her entire career. Drew McIntyre is set to defend the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. At Clash of Champions, I was almost certain that Randy Orton was set to take the title from him. Now I'm not so sure, because it seemed like the end-all be-all scenario was them protecting Drew McIntyre, even if the title was going to end up on Orton. I don't see how you could protect McIntyre in that scenario. Like, Orton, as much as I would like to see him, break that 17th title record, like, Ric Flair convinced me that I wanted that. But if he didn't make that step now, I wouldn't be that mad about it. I'm a fan of the momentum that McIntyre has now. And if he were to carry that championship into Survivor Series, I'd be okay with that. And now that we have AJ Styles on Raw, that's another person I want to see Drew McIntyre defend the championship against.
Yeah. That would be a dope match.
Maybe even Jeff Hardy. I'm one of those people that still wants to see Jeff Hardy have another championship run if it can be done.
Oh man. We all grew up watching Jeff Hardy win the WWE Championship from Edge, and then the World Heavyweight Championship, and that classic feud with CM Punk pre Straight Edge Society CM Punk. My God, that was awesome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, totally agree with that.
And again, this is another one of those things where I say if I'm less of a fan for saying this, that's fine. I didn't mind seeing Lana win.
Why?
Do I think she's gonna beat Asuka? No, but at the same time, it's I think Miro said it better. Miro said it better than I did. It's like, she's been put through announce tables left and right.
Right.
It's like, and as much as people want to say that they don't like her, it's like she's getting to put through the ringer for a decision that her husband made for himself. Oh, actually, no, for her getting fired. They fired her husband, and now he made the decision to better himself as a result, and now she's getting punished for that.
Oh, so, when have we seen this before? I'm pretty sure we saw this after then Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley left WWE I would even argue this is worse because Mox left.
Right. Miro got fired.
Right.
So, I will almost argue that this is a silver lining, just getting the match.
Right.
So, and at the end of the day, any time being on TV is a chance to get better. Right. That's really the way I've always chosen to look at it. I'm one of the most optimistic wrestling fans you'll ever meet. If I can see, if as a wrestling fan, I like to see folks get better. Is she a better manager? Of course she is, but she's never going to become a better wrestler if she doesn't get in the ring and try it. That's why I thought her being with Natty had the potential to be good. Unfortunately, they, made it this scenario of, hey, look at how many TikTok videos we could film. That was booked horribly, but that could have been so much better than what it was. Like if they geared it towards, Natty training her to be a better wrestler, that could have been something. Natty does not get enough credit for how talented she actually is because she's easily the most tenured women's wrestler on the roster.
Right. In WWE, at least. I don't know how long Asuka has actually been wrestling. I think her and Natty have. Asuka's been, everywhere. So, and I think they're about the same age, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows how long they've been wrestling? But
so yeah, if I'm a bad wrestling fan for saying that, so be it.
Yeah, I saw a thing recently. Somebody made a render of Lana holding the Raw Women's Championship next to Sasha holding the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I'm like, but I agree with you.
That's pushing it.
At least during this time.
Asuka lost the title, the Raw Women's Championship in a bullshit way to Sasha Banks because of Bayley putting on a goddamn referee shirt. I mean, for a second I thought they were messing around having Asuka on the roster, and then Becky gave her the Raw Women's Championship, and I'm like, okay, all right.
By the way, Noah.
Finally.
By the way, Noah, just giving you a heads up because I care about you as a person. Don't look at the PWI 100.
I don't.
Like,
wait. Are you saying that because Bailey's listed as number one right now?
You know exactly why I'm saying that.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to that. Anywho, off the ranking system, we're going to go to JDP, the Jack Attack. You have Impact Wrestling as always.
Of course.
What do you got? What do you got? What impressed you this week?
About this.
Oh man, this week it was more of building up to Bound to Glory, a lot more storytelling. There was also some a few hiccups, one of which was the Falaba and Crazy Steve match. A harmless match altogether, but really I'm getting sick and tired of this dumb wedding with Johnny Bravo. It's annoying. And I hate seeing someone like Falaba, who's so charismatic and talented, relegated to such a role. I feel like he could be much higher up on the mid card, challenging for possibly an X Division championship match, because X Division has no limits. And plus, that's a certified mid card. I don't see him ever going for a world title match, but it'd be nice to see him, taken a little more seriously. And from what I understand, he's crazy over with fans. There was also another hiccup with the 10-person tag team match. Would you like me to list out all the competitors, or shall I save myself the seconds?
You got time, dude. It's up to you.
I got time. So it was just like a smorgasbord of competitors. We had Tennille Dashwood, Tommy Dreamer, Brian Meyer, Cody Deaner, and Johnny Swinger versus Hernandez, Cousin Jake, Alicia Edwards, Rhino, and Heath. The only names that are really sticking out for me right now is Tommy Dreamer, Brian Meyer, Tennille Dashwood, Rhino, and Heath Slater. Or Heath, excuse me. We're really just building up for Heath getting a contract with Impact, reforming a team with Rhino. We're really looking at the Brian Meyer and Tommy Dreamer feud, and it already feels like Tennille Dashwood is now lost in the shuffle. It feels like her return was kind of all for naught. But hopefully down the line we can figure her out and get her a proper place in the knockout roster. The rest of the show, though, was phenomenal. We had Kylie Ray versus Kimberly with Deonna Purrazzo at ringside. This was a very interesting match. It showed it's basic storytelling with Kylie Ray being under the influence of Susie without her knowing it. That's what I feel like the story's leading to, because we saw a much different style out of Kylie against Kimberly. She portrayed the emotion of just being genuinely upset at these two for hurting one of her friends. And it's very interesting to see. I'm very excited for the Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Ray match. I'm hoping Kylie Ray comes out on top. I think it'd be very interesting to see some gold around her. We had big boys fighting this week too. We had Doc Gallows and Madman Fulton. A nice match. It's reminding us that this Fatal 4-Way Impact Tag Team Championship match at the pay-per-view is going to take the show, and it should main event if you ask me. Again, nothing too harmless. It's just showing, kind of trying to build up Madman Fulton and Ace Austin is kind of like the dark horses. They could steal this, but it's not that likely. I think this is mainly just building up to a Good Brothers versus the Motor City Machine Guns at some point down the line. I see them retaining and then fighting.
That's a hot match.
That's going to be a hot match.
God.
And then
hot ticket. It's a hot ticket.
And then the big story for this week for Impact was, will Rich Swann be able to compete at Bound for Glory? And I think we got our answer, because we saw him beat the holy hell out of Eric Young. After Eric Young
estimated Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, he had a very good, I think we had a very good gosh, I'm stumbling over my words. We had a very good promo from Scott D'Amore. And then he just beat the shit out of Scott D'Amore. Eric Young just destroyed this man. And then Rick Swann makes a save saying, yeah, I'm good to go. Let's fight. And really, this show was just building up for it. building up for Bound for Glory. And then during this whole segment, we had a Moose and EC3 confrontation. Me personally, I'm getting it's a little stale. I feel like they should have done this at Victory Road and have EC3 move on to something else come Bound for Glory, but I'm hoping this will be a good match, honestly. And that was really it for Impact for me. A lot of solid wrestling all around. I didn't even talk about the what is it? Triple threat tag match between Tasha Steelz, Kiera Hogan, Havoc and Nevaeh, and Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie, which was a phenomenal match. But my only gripe is that they're not letting the younger competitors, the younger Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan are constantly taking the falls. And I feel like if they're trying to build them up as the future of the knockout division, maybe we should leave them out of the falls. Maybe we should give them some credibility.
Time.
Clear that like Impact Wrestling, again, we've been talking about this for weeks. It's like they are out of the 4 shows that we've been talking about thus far. They're definitely the underrated, and
they're
also
ones to watch. Honestly,
They are.
I'm having a bunch of enjoyment just watching what they do each and every week, and it makes me excited to see how far they've come from the last decade when I first started watching them, which was a rough time.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
before
funny.
they were Impact and back when they were the TNA days.
Ugh. Dark.
Anywho, last but not least, Simple Man. We have AEW Dynamite at the show, which, I'll be honest about it. It was me flipping back and forth in the channels between NXT and AEW Dynamite, just so that I had some idea of what was going on. What'd you think of Dynamite this week, and what impressed you the most?
So AEW Dynamite celebrating their 1-year anniversary, decided to do a championship showcase where all titles were on the line, and you think maybe we get some change. Well, I don't necessarily believe in change in the very beginning, but I do believe you set up some big stuff going out of your new beginning. I thought everybody really delivered here. I liked how they opened up the hot tag team match, the Best Friends and FTR. They really went the limit. I think the whole video game arcade spot was a little overrated with the whole Penelope Ford, Muriel, and Kit spot, but I get it. I knew that the Best Friends were not going to win the titles here. Of course, Tully Blanchard comes in the end. FTR, they do retain the titles. There were some really good close near falls, great tag team wrestling all around. FTR made the Best Friends look incredible. And then epilogue, we know what the Best Friends are going to deal with next as the Good Friends, as Miro called it. Miro destroyed them for destroying Kim's machine. And then we get an enhancement to what Miro is going to bring.
Best Friends. You mean the Best Friends, right?
Not according to Miro, Good Friends. Because according to Miro, they're the good friends because he's the best man. So Kip and him are the best friends.
Oh my.
Anyway, you break my shit, I blick your face. That's basically what happened here at Follow Up because Kip and Miro, they basically destroyed, well, it was mostly Miro. They destroyed Shamaluda and Lee Johnson with game over. So I think we know what's next for all 4 of these people. Moving on from there, we go into the TNT Championship match. I have to say, Orange Cassidy and Cody, that was quite surprising to me what those two brought. I did not expect that sort of match. I'm glad that the Dark Order and the Nightmare Family shenanigans did not get involved. In fact, Dark Order was ejected. What I do find weird here is a couple of things. It went to a 20-minute draw. One more second and via mousetrap, Orange Cassidy probably would have been our champion. They're going to run it back in 2 weeks, and there's no real theme or setup or build or reasoning I see behind this to do this just in 2 weeks. Not to mention, no matter who has the title, Darby Allin is going to get a chance to get the TNT title at Full Gear. Just cuz. I get a big-time star, but you got to give me a reason why Darby Allin deserves it. Yeah, he got a great opener with Ricky Starks. Is he in the rankings? Do the rankings matter here? Now I'm starting to question their ranking system, but overall, good match. They need to get more time to the women, but I'm glad that Big Swole and Sheeta got about 10 minutes, even with commercial break in. Big Swole looked incredibly strong, but again, nobody is on Sheeta's level. Sheeta wins, of course, with that run through knee strike, but I like how Big Swole was able to survive out of the Falcon and Arrow. It looks like Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, they're going to continue hostilities. I kind of wish that this was over, but I'm glad Matt Hardy is doing better. I just hope they don't do anything extreme and we get maybe a pure classic wrestling match in the middle of the ring. My favorite segment of the night had to be Tony Schiavone getting waxed at the spa as he and Britt Baker continue their character development together. And Britt Baker gives us our next rule. encouraging what JR says, be the baddest bitch on the roster. But more so, I'm just wondering, well, of all places to have a promo or interview segment, a spa, and Tony Schiavone getting waxed. I think Tony Schiavone was more over in that segment than Britt Baker. I look at the tag team picture and how they're setting up the next potential competitors for FTR. They just pulled them out of a random Tumblr. A little weird considering that Young Bucks was picked, despite the fact you had every other team imaginable. But I'm optimistic to see hopefully either Dark Order or Butcher and Blade go over here. I personally hope that there's a fallout with Private Party and the Young Bucks, but we'll have to wait and see. And apparently MJF, he might join the Inner Circle. It's going to be MJF and Chris Jericho in a steak dinner this coming week. So we're going to see what's going to happen there as I continue to see more of Jericho in MJF, leading towards, obviously, I think, MJF versus Jericho at freaking Full Gear. I'm loving this dynamic so far, how these two, like, respect one another, like each other, hate each other, both think are losers. I think it's a pretty funny dynamic, which, of course, led us to talk more about the tournament coming up to crown the next contender. I cannot believe we're finally going to get Lucha Brothers one-on-one. That's going to be a hot opener. But people are already writing off everybody else. They forget it's going to come down to because they're on opposite sides. Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. I hope to be surprised because a lot of people right now are saying that AEW might start to look like WWE with the fact they're only having these names as their champions. Case in point, main event. You thought Lance Archer was going to win. You had to even be in wish luck by Minoru Suzuki and New Japan Pro Wrestling. No, but they did draw back on Wrestle Kingdom with a couple of spots. But in the end, Jon Moxley won. He is once again still the champion. And it looks like we're going to run back Eddie Kingston and Moxley as he really endorsed him as champion. What a great champion you are. And then basically put him to sleep. So I see some sort of submission feud falling out of that. So I liked all the match qualities. There's a couple of stories and dynamics I don't quite understand. And I think we're some lazy. But overall, I thought it was a good show. I look forward to what's coming to year 2. More women's action needs to happen.
You got to believe that... You gotta believe that Kingston and Moxley at Full Gear was more than likely always in the cards, and their match on Dynamite a few weeks back was more than likely just an audible. I mean, it definitely was an audible, but it's more than likely possible that them facing off at Full Gear was in the cards all along.
Well, I want to bring up a couple of things. First thing I want to ask is, who is it that in the cards right now in AEW and that they are pushing to basically, when the time comes, to not relieve Moxley of the championship, but be the next be the company's next world champion? Who are they leaning towards right now?
I don't think they have an idea right now, and I think that's probably the flaw. I thought it was going to be Lance Archer because I can see Jon Moxley working more with NJPW as people continue to suggest that maybe AEW and NJPW, they're going to form a partnership. I still think that's a little bit too soon to say, but it's optimistic thing considering what we saw last week and on Twitter. But at this point, if it's not Lance Archer, I have no idea. He might hold this thing till Revolution for all I know. I honestly see if anyone's going to trade up the title from Jon Moxley, at this point, I got to say it, I think it's going to be Kenny Omega, but I don't think it's going to happen after Full Gear. I don't think Kenny Omega is going to win this, despite people calling him to win this single elimination No One Contenders tournament. I really hope to be surprised and see some sort of angle come out here. I'm wondering what's going on with the Elite overall, but right now I think AEW doesn't necessarily know which direction to go with the AEW World Championship, so they're just filling time.
The second thing I was going to mention, and as I was flipping back and forth between the channels of NXT and Dynamite, one thing stood out clear to me, and you kind of hinted at this, Noah. The match with Big Swole and Sheeta. I'm going to call a spade here. When it comes to women's wrestling, just last Wednesday, NXT was superior.
Yes, I know. You don't have to tell me. I know. They had 2 women's matches, I might add. We all know, as Jack endorses the knockouts, when you look at the knockouts division and the NXT women's division, they're pretty much tit for tat when it comes to quality, star power, and match quantity too. AEW hasn't had even 50 total AEW women's matches. It really surprises me. But again, maybe they didn't have that lead direction, that lead to help them because they only had Dustin, QT, Cody, and Omega. Now they got Serena Deeb, so I'm hoping for bigger and better things. But again, I give credit where credit's due. Big Swole and Sheeta, they did what they could with the time they were given.
Right.
I do like the talent of AEW. I just the AEW women's roster. I just wish they'd be given a little more time, a little more exposure.
Exactly.
That match with Sheeta and Big Swole was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly just think it happened too soon. I would have gotten Nyla Rose out of the way first because, to your point, she is the number one contender, and if they want those rankings to be taken seriously, they just need to, really take them seriously.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the rankings has been like one of the biggest flaws in AEW since the inauguration. I honestly feel like they're unnecessary. I like the whole win-loss idea because you can use that to draw back maybe on history, previous matches. But as far as rankings, how much have they really come into play when it comes to the match setups, it seems? Maybe somewhat, but lately it's more so,
I feel like we also have to keep in account we're in really weird times where the person that's number one on the list is sick. They're sick and they're going to be gone for 2 weeks. We need to call an audible. We need to do this. So I'm more lenient with the ranking system as it is because we're in such weird and unfamiliar times, and I'm sure these big companies are feeling that way as well, especially AEW since this is their freshman year going on to their sophomore year.
Right.
I give them a little forgiveness with this.
I don't hold the rankings against them, but overall, I still say AEW was a pretty good show. So I just want to go back real quick, though, to you, Noah. You didn't talk much on NXT UK. Did you watch it at all? I'm guessing you said NXT is the best show in NXT UK. Did you look at that main event tag match with Walter, Ela, Dunn, and Wolf?
Boys,
NXT UK? Do you follow the product?
Boys, I'm going to be quite honest for you. I've been sleeping on the NXT UK. I have to admit my own defeat and myself nailing myself into the coffin here.
I got you covered. Don't worry. I'll just sum it up briefly for you. NXT UK Heritage Cup continues. Mastiff knocked out Connors. That's something to consider. Isla Dawn, almost said the wrong name. Isla Dawn, Piper Niven, pretty good women's action. I think Isla Dawn has a lot of potential. At the end, when this match started out with a bit of, I think, attitude, maybe some animosity towards each other, it seemed like it went off with some self-respect that she just smiles on. And then really the biggest focus here, and probably my favorite match this week, if I'm honest with you, with everything I've watched, Walter, Wolf, Ela, and Dunn, they recalled all the history among the four before NXT UK and during their time on the Indies. And for the first time under NXT UK, Walter has been pinned by his upcoming challenger, Ilya Dragunov. That match to me was my favorite match this entire week of pro wrestling. Loved it from top to bottom. It could have been a pay-per-view caliber main event, in my opinion. Went about 30 minutes.
I feel like they need to advertise NXT UK so much more than they do.
Yeah. I agree.
It's not uncommon for someone to say, I didn't know there was an NXT UK unless they're like big fans like us.
Well, and considering even then, UK is the youngest brand, younger, I might add, than 205 Live, and that's saying something. Yeah, it's very alienated among the rest of the WWE universe, unless you follow NXT and heard of NXT UK, or at least be done on a takeover.
And it's a shame that talent like Walter, Pete Dunne, I'm not going to try and butcher any more names, Alexander Wolf, going on. They're relegated to NXT UK. I wish they could just merge it all together and not keep it segregated. Right. I feel like
that's why they did Worlds Collide, to give you an idea that they could do that. I'm pretty sure if this pandemic thing wasn't going to happen, we probably would have had NXT versus NXT UK War Games, and I would have really looked forward to that.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you were to merge both rosters, though, then that forces them to create a 3-hour NXT show, which we know is not productive.
Well, I have a simple solution.
I'm saying that NXT needs to be 3 hours if you merge the two. What we're saying is you need to bring more awareness to NXT UK if it is branded as NXT. There's a reason why the refs in NXT UK have the same shirts as the ones here in NXT. They don't say NXT UK. There should be more acknowledgement by NXT commentary for NXT UK and vice versa.
The only exception.
They were a lot better about that when the brand first started, because it was allegedly so white hot, and then it just quickly cooled off. At least in the eyes of production. In my eyes, nothing's changed. It's still a white hot brand.
Yeah, and I still love it. I mean, when NXT UK came back, that just further ignited my love to watch the product, because a lot of times I watch AEW live versus NXT recorded. This week, though, they were pretty balanced, and I looked at shades of NXT while I was live, but mostly I followed AEW live because there were moments in AEW I'm like, I don't understand why you're kind of doing this. This is odd to me.
The only times for me when I feel like NXT, gives NXT UK a solid plug is anytime they've brought talent from the UK and put them on the flagship show, i.e. a Tony Storm, i.e. a Rhea Ripley, like that, i.e. I'm pretty sure, wasn't, who am I thinking of? Guy who's at the funny tag team segment where he's like, nobody's mean to you but me. Who's the guy that won?
Dane and Drake Maverick.
Drake Maverick. He was out in the UK for a hot minute, wasn't he?
And their
No.
Poor Man's Chariots of Fire theme
No.
song.
No, neither of them were.
Yeah. I think that's when NXT gives them a solid plug is anytime they bring a talent onto that show. So I think what they're doing with UK is they're giving them a solid platform for all the UK performers, but at the same time, I think the goal is to introduce new talent in the UK and also check the gauges on each of the talent and see what do you think about moving to the main brand or even to a Raw or SmackDown, which I think talents now in NXT and NXT UK are more resistant to doing because they know that's where they go to essentially get buried by Vince. So,
or become part of Retribution and change your name.
Making me
Had to
sick
be
over
said.
here.
Had to
goodness.
be said. At least Mercedes Martinez is going back to NXT according to
Thank
what
God.
Yeah, which and that's another thing I almost forgot to mention. The backstage segment between Rhea Ripley and
Raquel Gonzalez.
Raquel Gonzalez. I think that hyped up that even add more layers to the cake and hyped it up even more for us to see that upcoming match because it's been building for quite a long time. So and it's just going to be a standard regular wrestling match, which I kind of don't understand. I think they need to put some sort of stipulation to it, but nonetheless,
I would make that a last woman standing match.
Rhea Ripley's been enough gimmick-based matches. They call Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley the battle of the badasses in a steel cage. Let's just have two powerhouses truly show what they're capable of. Now, if they do brawl over the place for the next week, because we know the match is official on Halloween Havoc, maybe the wheel will seal their deal in a last woman standing match, which I think would be the most civil gimmick idea. Because every match at Halloween Havoc is going to be determined now by that wheel.
is it every match or is it just the Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae matches?
I'm pretty sure her as host, that wheel is going to come into play for every match. It would not surprise me one bit. And so far,
something about that. You can't script that wheel.
Right.
True.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of unless you're pre-recording the wheel spin. If you're pre-recording the wheel spin, then it's like, you're able to, you're just be able to, like, we'll just spin this like 10 times and
they probably put a weight on the bottom
and record it 10 times, and we're gonna pick.
There'll be a person off camera that will slow it down and stop it right in place. Or did you notice how the wheel was on an LED screen, randomly computer generated? Click.
Guys, let's just cut the shit. They're all Jedis.
Come on now.
Look, until I see Shotzi Blackheart with a green lightsaber, you can take that spot to hell.
You can take my money for that one. Seeing her as like
where do you think she's getting? Like, I'd buy it.
Right.
Let me one more thing, Noah. What's your thought on the whole brass knuckles dynamic with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae?
Okay, that pissed me off.
But that was Regal tactics back in the day. However, that is not how things are done in NXT.
I basically, I'll just say the Johnny Gargano way of basically doing anything it takes to win is it's going to bite them in the ass. The way I see it is if they really are going to put the North American Championship on Johnny Gargano and the NXT Women's Championship on Candice LeRae, then they're going to have to keep this going for a long time. But it gives them an opportunity to build up a baby face to the point where, like, Pete, I know you know who I'm talking about here. You bring back Boshmania. What is her name? You know who I'm talking about. She just got injured. No, well, Ember Moon, yes, but she just basically did a segment with Candice LeRae and she broke her leg again.
In Knox.
Yeah, that was it.
She just got ACL.
That's the long-term feud waiting to happen. I understand where you're coming from. Clearly, Tia Knox, Candice LeRae is a long-term feud. Whether or not a title's involved, that's a whole nother story. So that's all I got to say.
I don't know if I want to see her win the title from anybody else but Dakota Kai.
Right.
How tough is it been for Kai? She was voted breakout star last year. She had the opportunity for the women's chair. Rusev Day.
What could have been? Damn it!
English.
No.
Rusev Day. Rusev. Now you got me triggered. Anyway, what was I saying? Blah blah blah. Right. Clearly, the long-term program is LeRae and Knox. Now, whether or not you put a title in that, I have no idea. Considering we got one more takeover this year too, do you honestly think that both Gargano and LeRae are winning the titles at Halloween Havoc?
No, not at all.
There are any gimmick matches, by the way, too.
Right.
Real.
No, absolutely not. First of all, the reason why Gargano is not going to win, I know he's like considered one of a great in-ring worker and he's incredible. But he's going to make Damian Priest even better than he already is. Damian Priest, not only his character is really good, he's a motherfucking pimp. I love Damian Priest, but also in the ring, I love his gimmick. I love Damian Priest. I love his gimmick. I love his entrance. I love his in-ring look. I love his work inside the ring. I think that they're doing a solid job. And what happens from this point forward, if they take the title off of him, it's going to be because they're going to put him in the NXT title picture because the man has been built up to this point, and then he's done a flawless switch from heel to babyface. The guy's money.
He did in Ring of Honor.
He's dripping in money.
Yeah, I remember President Martinez. You say NXT title picture. Do you really think that's a good thing? Do we need to look at the run of recent champions since Adam Cole, baby, lost the title? Finn Balor might vacate it because he's injured with a closed jaw.
Right. With all due respect, I don't know if that's the right attitude to have. I don't know if eventually we're gonna have to put the NXT title on somebody. Unfortunately, like the past few champions have just had bad luck.
We don't know. We don't know if we're gonna have to take. We don't know yet if we're gonna have to take the title off Finn. It just depends on how fast he's healing with a jaw. I guess it just means that.
How ironic is it that Finn Balor's on your TV screen? We literally brought up his name.
Yep. As we're mentioning him, we get to see his entrance. This is back.
That's him telling us it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yep. And as far as your Wrestle House spots goes with that 10-man tag, at least it's all going to end the day before Halloween Havoc. Because apparently Rosemary and freaking Johnny Bravo are going to have their wedding that week, that Tuesday.
I hope that happens sooner than later.
Right. Well, apparently next week, Rosemary is having a one-on-one with Jessica Havoc where if she wins, we're going to see Father James Mitchell back.
The only other thing I have to say is there's so many things you can say to prove that the main stage of WWE doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling, about the fact that they, released all their tag teams, the fact that they traded the fact that they broke up their most profitable and famous tag team of the current decade, the fact that they literally traded their tag teams. Look at this. This is the one I want you to focus on. The fact that they drafted the Street Profits to SmackDown, which is fine, but they weren't even willing to draft the Street Profits to SmackDown, but invest in blue Solo Cups. I can't be the only one that's upset about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty pressed. I'm pretty pressed.
I get what he's saying because in NXT, you're right, they were black and gold. Maybe that will happen down the line. But
they sent them to SmackDown and said, make these work.
Okay, wait. Well, let me say this about the New Day, though. They did give them, I think, a very proper send-off, okay? It wasn't like a heel turn like the Shield. It wasn't like there was any tomfoolery or chicanery. And we even got shades of the Bar promo, which I thought was pretty fun, too, as Sheamus goes off to Raw. Honestly, besides the Roman Reigns character development storyline with I love you, why you making me do this to you, here's a free shot with Jey Uso, because the Braun Strowman thing was absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary. The New Day thing was probably my favorite thing this week outside NXT brands from the WWE.
Solo cups are not that expensive.
Right. They're not that expensive.
Look, let's just wait till Hell in a Cell to see if they freaking get the blue Solo cups in. Wouldn't surprise if they don't.
To be fair, I don't think they make them. They make them in blue in the shot glass size. I have not seen them yet. I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure you can go to a website and custom order them like that. All right, anything's possible with the internet.
For God's sakes, Amazon makes everything.
Right. They're making their money.
Gotta get that Prime, bro.
Right. Exactly. So
Prime member.
Lost without Amazon.
That's why I'm a Prime member.
Petey, you mentioned it earlier, and I think now we're able to move into the hot topics of what each of us want to talk about for 10 minutes. I think the draft. I know that's been on everybody's minds recently.
Yeah.
The fact that I thought it was just completely ridiculous, and you just mentioned it, where they drafted the SmackDown Tag Team Championships to Raw. They draft the Raw Tag Team Championships to SmackDown. And what do? They don't have a match to unify the titles, or they don't have a match, they don't actually have an altercation between these tag teams. What do? They have what's his face, Baldy, and it's like, you know what, guys, just trade belts.
You be nice to Adam Pearce.
Yeah, you be nice to Adam Pearce right now.
He didn't do anything wrong.
I think
Daddy is a good man.
Okay, I thought he was talking about Lars Sullivan. So yeah, don't mess with Adam Pearce. All right, don't mess with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is okay.
Did you say Lars Sullivan? Don't you mean the Freak? Because we heard that fucking 50 times from Michael
that's
Cole.
right. The Freak took on Jeff Hardy in a freakish way with the Freak attack as the.
And he hit the Freak accident. The Freak jumped off the top.
On SmackDown as the Freak is now the Freak on the blue brand, and the Freak's gonna just be on every week being the Freak.
The Freak got on Twitter and said another thing that pissed a lot of people off.
Removal of the mic and leave.
Do you think Michael Cole is just dying inside every time he has to say the Freak? He's traumatized from that.
Dude, Michael Cole has been a part of WWE's worst moments, and he still exists for some reason. I think
he's somehow still survived.
I think he enjoyed getting F5 by Brock Lesnar just a little bit more.
I think he also enjoyed wearing a Celtics jersey and getting rock bottomed by The Rock.
I think he enjoyed talking to Heidenreich more than this. Who remembers that?
Or getting
Heidenreich. I am Heidenreich.
Or getting wedgied by China and DX. Another classic moment with Michael.
But here's the thing. I feel like Vince was screaming in his ear saying, make sure you call him the Freak 50 times. And if you don't, you're fired.
Well, wait. Okay, here's a question. Was the Freak said more than the word structure back at Battleground 2017?
We had film to at least somewhat confirm that. It's on an episode of the show Bring It to the Table, which still needs to be brought back.
Right.
Stop the damn tape.
I will never not advocate for that show being brought back.
Or I think it was
Peter Rosenberg fan.
The Freak was said. The Freak was said more times than Booker T, grunting in the middle of the match on commentary. Anytime someone would get a huge bump, he'd go,
Yes, absolutely. Like when Braun Strowman literally choke slammed. He freaking running power slam. Freaking Brock Lesnar went.
We all know what Booker's shucky ducky quack quack moment of the week was.
We're in his top 5 for sure. It was Fave 5 for sure.
Living rent free inside his fucking head.
I don't know about that. That's a unique class. I mean,
hey, he knows who the real Sin Cara is. Let's be honest.
Back in 2006, 2007, when he was on commentary, I think it was during his King Booker days, and Batista got slammed through a table, and Batista is down.
The way he delivered himself among the masses as King Booker was some of the best promo work of that era. Oh my gosh,
that was great.
But now every King of the Ring has to be a king, and it's ruined.
Well, here's the thing: who's going to be the next king? Because right now it's King Corbin,
who also was just on.
We won't know for at least another 3 years.
Right. I mean, honestly,
it's not a coincidence that you literally have the people we're talking about at a moment like that. Okay,
that was perfect. No, it's the Royal Rumble match, another match where anything can happen. Anywho, the King of the Ring thing has always been something that, I feel like that's what they used to take it very seriously, or they used to use it in a way to jumpstart a character's the career.
Yeah, it used to be looked on the same level as the Royal Rumble.
Right. And I just feel like now it's just like we'll just dust off this we'll just dust off this tournament whenever we're bored. But
An
things that
excuse
are
to give somebody a gimmick.
right.
Just
You
make
wanna-
Elias king. At least he'll probably have a different way he does music.
Which
Do not do
by the
that.
way,
Don't do
brings
this.
us back
Don't
to
do this
last
to me,
week.
Noah.
Who's coming back on Raw? This guy.
Hello,
Back on Raw next
I am
week.
Elias. And I got one question for everybody here.
Who wants to walk with Elias?
Dude,
Because WWE stands for.
you're right, Kevin. John Cena teaming with Bobby Lashley doesn't make sense. It's kind of like having a basketball team in Seattle.
Oh my God, he was so like that was
Uber
wanted-
heat
They
in
wanted to
that
murder him.
segment.
And he still hasn't had a mid-card title.
Right. I mean, but
What are we holding out on?
yeah,
I don't freaking know.
that's the thing. That's
What-
the thing. I
here's the
feel like
thing. He had a feud with Baron Corbin and then it got dropped after Money in the Bank after he cost him that briefcase. So what are we doing with Elias?
right.
Well, he attacked Jeff Hardy, so I imagine we're going to feud with Jeff Hardy.
Oh boy, we already saw Lars Sullivan do that. Why are we doing this to?
Because Jeff Hardy's on Raw and Lars is on SmackDown. You got
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Then again,
So
stupid.
let me just say this right now. Draft did practically 80% jack shit. All it did was trade storylines from Raw to SmackDown and vice versa to make the networks happy. The only reason that most of those people from Raw went to SmackDown was because Fox demanded it.
Right.
What a waste. What a waste,
Well,
honestly. Nothing honestly
What's the rule
changed.
right now?
Like storylines that were happening on other brands just shifted to the other band. Like the Seth Rollins, Rey
I was
Mysterio.
like, Brian, Seth Rollins, that sounds great. Bloody freaking
Yeah,
hell.
boys.
We're doing the Mysterio thing still. Okay, where's Aaliyah? She wasn't part of the draft. We still doing that love story? Let's go.
Right.
Probably
I think
not, I'm
fucking
gonna be honest
Murphy
with you.
followed him as well. Yep, he followed them as well.
Yeah, I kind of like the whole
Why?
thing. I kind of like the whole thing about Ray and Dominic not trusting. Like basically he's reaching his arm out to shake Rey Mysterio's hand, and he's like, nah. He's like, nope, we don't trust you,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murphy. Not trusting Murphy, just like yeah, I came to save you from Seth Rollins, but I still don't trust you. I still like that and it's a continuous storyline. I mean, it's not like the storyline ended after the first match. It's like this is a continuous storyline with the Mysterios, Dominic, and with Seth Rollins and Murphy.
Yeah,
It's a
that's the
continuous thing, and it's an actual story that's being told. When was the last time we had something like this in
That's the
WWE
thing.
program?
Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton.
WWE can do these things when they want to.
All right, fair point.
They're fully capable.
They're fully capable of doing this, but it's just like that's the reason why it's taking so long for each of these guys. And going back to Jack's point about Elias, it's just like they're doing 1 month, like storylines in the course of 1 month, and then they're moving on to the next opponent, moving on to the next opponent, moving on to the next opponent. Not
Well, it
telling
goes back to that idea that you are doing too much with month by month pay-per-views. Do what AEW does. Do the quarterly pay-per-view schedule. Actually build a storyline out to a point and then give us a conclusion.
Would it be such a bad thing if they went back to the Big Four with an addition to like maybe 2 extra ones?
you
I think
need.
that'd be-
I think that'd be fair.
I would
You got like a
keep money in the
midpoint
bank.
between, you got like a midpoint most of the time, and then you got like a rest period between 2 of the Big Fours, but you don't have that. So, I mean, I think that would be, anything would be better than what they're doing now.
You'd have more
To your point
championship
earlier.
matches on Raw and SmackDown instead of just like
Pointless
you-
filler on pay-per-views for most of them. Exactly.
right.
And that's another thing. This whole monthly pay-per-view dynamic has degraded the value of several of the WWE championships. Honestly, the only thing I care about in Hell in a Cell right now is Sasha versus Bayley and Roman versus Jey. And I know the results of at least one of them.
Right.
To your point,
Exactly.
like, I'm wondering, like, to Jack's point, like, I'm wondering if we're in a time where I'm actually wondering if a brand split is even necessary.
I'm not saying that. I feel like we have a big enough roster to where we can get away with 2. But here's the thing: if we're going to have 2 separate brands, we need to be utilizing these talent the right way. We don't need Charlotte Flair on all 3 brands. We don't need these superstars saying, "Oh, well, I'm going to be here for a day." It defeats the purpose. When we had the wild card rule, I was so upset over that. It was so dumb. We just had a draft. So why are we having superstars that were drafted to another show back on their old show?
Right.
I
It
will
made
admit,
no sense.
I will admit,
Ratings. Remember they reinvented wild card rule and the wild card rule 2.0 with the superstar open invitational of a certain amount of times a year, which might have had, I think, is still a thing. So
if it is, I haven't heard anything about it.
They're just trying to do the same thing that they've always done, like, or they're trying to go back to the way that they used to do things with separate shows. It's not like this is 2006 when they had the actual Raw versus SmackDown. Like, it's not like that anymore. It's because
let's just go back to calling it Raw Super Show like Triple H first did when he was COO. Because at this point, you basically have two of the same shows. The only different thing between the two shows, you got the Fiend now on Raw, you got Roman leading SmackDown, and Roman's more interesting than the Fiend at this point because right now the Fiend, people have cooled off him since he lost the title, let alone lost again to Roman. He's basically been cooled off since SummerSlam. Well, who am I kidding? Since freaking February.
And then there's all these
talks also about... can beg the question of what happens with Roman's title right now. Because it was very much like speculated that it was going to be Roman versus The Fiend at WrestleMania next year.
It's going to be Roman versus The Rock.
I thought The Rock retired.
Which leads me to a very interesting question. So everyone's wondering about Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. It seems like it's more than likely happening. Let's say it's for the title. Do you think people will be patient enough to hold out and wait for Big E?
Ooh,
I think we will be. I'm very patient with waiting for him because I was literally just going to suggest maybe we build up a Big E versus Roman Reigns for.
See, that was my first initial thought to why they split the New Day because I thought they were going to use Big E and almost similar to a Kofi Mania type angle.
That's exactly why I brought it up.
But we don't need that storyline, okay? That's all I gotta say.
I think it's high time.
Which one? The one with The Rock?
No, the one with the Kofi Mania is what I'd guess.
I hope they don't go that direction, okay? Because we all saw what happened with Kofi Mania. It had a short stint, it burned out immediately, and then he got buried by Brock in 8 seconds.
Why? Because Vince wants to pay Brock millions of dollars to, ruin his company.
Which is why I believe that we are going to see Brock Lesnar versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. There's a reason why McIntyre still has that beast slave thing on the back of his trunks. I think they're going to do that.
I have already said that Brock Lesnar's contract expiring does not mean shit.
Exactly.
Like Rey Mysterio just signed a new contract a few months ago, but his contract was expired for about 3 months before that.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys guys do that all the time. It's like, if they just don't know what's going on, they do that. He could very well have told Vince like, hey, I'm just gonna let my contract run out. You have my number. Let me know when you need me.
We can only hope that maybe Daniel Bryan, who's back, who definitely increased my interest in SmackDown, will have some fresh feuds and matches with the people he wants to wrestle. But right now, Kevin Owens is a babyface. I don't see that happening for the time being, as long as he's still feuding with Aleister Black. Another feud transferred to just another brand. We also know Seth Rollins is still feuding now with Mysterios and Murphy. We're not surprised to do Rollins versus Murphy, Hell in a Cell kickoff show. What else is going on right now that I can figure off the top of my head? Tag teams, who cares? There's nothing to eat our tag team picture at this point. They might as well have a tag team. I mean, Noah, you didn't even cover the NXT tag team division. That tells you how much we care about tag team wrestling,
right? Exactly.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they finally gave the NXT tag team championships to Breeze Dango. I mean, okay, whoop-de-doo. I mean, it's like oh my gosh, they finally won the big one. No, I'm not. No disrespect.
I'm glad they got their moment. Where's the competition? Where's the competition?
Yeah.
Where's the story?
It was a solid segment. I mean, they were sitting up near the video screens with the championships, watching the match unfold. And we have an upcoming match with UE with Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish versus Breeze Dango.
I'm just upset that the UE has to be constantly involved in the tag team picture. tag team title picture.
Well, it's because they want to stay on. They want to stay on NXT, and they also want to re-fulfill the prophecy of having all.
But I want
gold
something
again.
new. I think it's high time we get something fresh on NXT.
Well, if there's anything I can hope for when it comes to UE and new, Kyle O'Reilly now seems to be the mouthpiece right now. This is the most vocal he's been. We might be seeing something forming finally with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole.
That'd be pretty insane.
I've said this for a few months now. Like, no one's immune. NXT is not even immune to, you know, burying people. Like, it's cool that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and all these guys want to stay in NXT because they believe in the brand and everything. But that brand is always going to be accruing new talent and everything.
Right.
And there's going to come a point where you've done everything you have possibly done. Like, as much as you don't want to like go and go to these other brands and all that stuff, like, there's going to be times when, you know, you haven't done anything over there. So it's like, how do you know automatically off the top of your head that you haven't done anything over there? It's like, it's easy to say that based off of, you know, experience and statistics and like what you see over there, but like, maybe you're wrong.
If I was in WWE, I'd just be a free agent the whole time. You couldn't control me. I'd just go wherever the hell I want to go.
And then Vince would fire you, suspend you, reprimand you, and bury you and make sure your value is worthless among the rest of the wrestling scene. Good luck going to AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, or anything else.
Thanks for ruining my dream.
Hashtag reality.
Yeah. No, I'd be storyline of free agent and just even if I lost and put everybody over, it still would be cool to just be like.
Okay, so basically, you want to be Heath Slater from the draft back in 2007. Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
we keep hearing about how Vince loves bigger guys and like guys who are just like chiseled out of stone and all that good stuff. How did he not see money in EC3?
Literally, just one of many names, Pete. Just one of many names. Put it on the lexicon. Just saying, put it on the lexicon.
Well, put it on the list of people that clearly he did at one point because he tried to put him up against then Dean Ambrose during Dean Ambrose's departure, and it didn't work because
they did. That's that started a downfall of his whole WWE run because he got booed so hard.
And they were trying to push him as a babyface, but no one wanted to boo Dean Ambrose, even after he turned heel, and that heel turn was horrible.
Right. Say that again.
And that heel turn was horrible.
Yeah.
Guys,
one more time for the people in the back.
And that heel turn was horrible.
Thank you.
Right.
You're welcome.
That heel turn was horrible. I can't say anything else now.
Well, guys, I got some news.
Okay. Hit it.
It's not even from a dirt sheet. Like, this is confirmed. So
what is it?
Starting in November, it will be the 30th anniversary of my personal favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker. And one of the things and they are doing a litany of things to celebrate his iconic career. 30
days on the W Network.
Yes. And one thing that they have aired on here is WWE Network's Brothers of Destruction documentary to premiere at the Austin Film Festival.
Nice.
Brothers of Destruction, an upcoming WWE Network documentary about The Undertaker and Kane's epic history in WWE, will make its world premiere at the Austin Film Festival. As reported by Variety, Brothers of Destruction will be shown Thursday, October 29th, closing out the final day of the festival. The documentary will then premiere on WWE Network on Sunday, November 15th as part of 30 Days of the Dead Man, a month-long celebration of commemorating the 30-year anniversary of The Undertaker's WWE debut. The film breaks new ground as cameras capture a candid discussion between The Undertaker and Kane and about their storied careers for the first time. So essentially, they are interviewing each other about their careers. And I personally am a big fan of that. So this festival has
coming up. Okay.
This festival has, debuted a couple different movies. One of them, like I read it a couple days ago. One that immediately comes to mind actually won a couple Oscars. It's called Silver Linings Playbook. Stars Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
Great fucking movie.
Great fucking movie.
So the fact that the documentary is getting that kind of shine is actually really impressive.
Yeah.
Also, it's Austin.
Right.
Great city. I went there for my brother's bachelor party.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Mr. Noah, did you get a email from the anonymous Raw general manager there?
No, because
And
I
if you
should've
did,
thought-
what did he say?
he
I'm
said
going to be going 1-on-1 now.
he said unblock me from Twitter. You huge wrestling stan. By the way, I'm a 4-foot tall troll who used to not be able to talk, and then the Tooth Fairy gave me my voice.
It wasn't
Actually-
the Tooth Fairy, it was Santa.
Actually, he told me, you know what? Actually, I did get an email from the anonymous Raw GM. He told that email told me that my CM Punk pipe bomb hoodie would be here within a week. It's literally a logo of the CM Punk. It's like the CM Punk logo.
He's sitting like on the ring.
No. It's just the CM Punk logo, but like if you look closely, it's just his entire speech like written out in the
Oh,
logo.
that's cool. So it's in the logo of like the holding the
So like the entire thing written out in the logo.
that's what's up.
So I'm like, I can dig that.
That's
It,
dope.
it was on a discount too. It was like $20. Half off.
We could talk about like the moments that like stand out to us as wrestling fans. One of the things I wanted to bring up briefly, or not briefly, is it's just like my topic to talk about. Everybody can have an opinion on this. Everybody has their own take. So 2 things I want everybody to mention. What's their favorite theme song, wrestling theme, and whose theme is it? And then what would if you were in pro wrestling, what would your entrance music be?
Actually,
Pete, we're gonna start with you on this one because I can just see it on your face. While you're saying this, I am going to take this into my kitchen because the show's running a little bit long, gentlemen. I'm running on empty.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take up all your time.
That, I'm going to open my next one. So,
Not at all.
mine, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm going to go with Triple H, the game. When you hear that opening guitar riff, like it's just super heavy. You hear "Let Me Go," time to play the game. You automatically know that just an absolute badass is coming to the ring.
Yes.
I'll admit, selfishly, it did, devalue him a little bit when he cut his hair, but only just a little bit. Just
Right.
a little bit. Now, my least favorite, I'm going to get some heat for this. I don't hate the song, but it's just like, it's out of all the songs he's come out to, this is bottom of the list. Broken Dreams. from Drew McIntyre.
Really?
Yes.
You're bold. You're on something.
Broken Dreams, the Cody Rhodes.
No, Drew McIntyre. You're thinking of Smoke and Mirrors.
Wait.
You're thinking of Smoke and Mirrors.
His first
I love
year?
that song.
What?
Yes. You wanna know why? You wanna know why? Because when I hear that song,
night, so say goodbye.
you wanna know why I'm not into that song?
Broken Dreams.
When I hear that song, I think of Metallica's "Turn the Page" cover. Like they sound exactly the same.
I get it.
You hear it now.
I get it now.
It's
But here's the thing, though. If you never would have told me that, I would have called you. I would have called you out. You're like you're on cap right now. Now you're off.
Now
the cap
I feel like a real dick.
You're on no cap, and I get it. But that song just holds so many nostalgic memories that I can't.
It's not the song I would have him come out to if the pencil was in my hand. Like we had a conversation about this.
We did.
So the song I would come out to.
Yeah.
If you have never heard it before, take some time at your own leisure to look it up. It is by The Used. It is called Pretty Handsome Awkward.
Yes.
Yes.
But like, so okay, so from somebody who hasn't listened to that, what's like the genre of the song? Is it like a?
It's
it sounds like it's a rock song.
It's alternative. It's somewhat heavy.
Okay.
There's definitely room for pyro. Like when the SmackDown Raw versus Raw games were out, and you could like upload your songs to your hard drive.
Oh.
Not only would I put the song in there, I would like time the song out, put pyro in there. Like I would basically produce my fucking entrance.
Dude.
Like I was that guy.
Plug to the SmackDown versus Raw custom entrances. Those were so much fun.
That's the thing. Like they need to find a way to make that to make the games better. Like they don't even have to call them SmackDown versus Raw. Honestly, like it's just a name. Like calling all the bullshit. That's one of the things they need to find a way to like let you do that again, because
Right.
that was so cool.
Exactly.
Like they can keep calling it 2K if they want, but just find ways to make it better. That's a good place to start.
Noah, Simple Man, what you got?
Okay, so as far as least favorite, there's a couple. I still think BT makes me think I was at a high school pep rally, so that one sucks.
Wait,
But
BT,
this
what?
current theme by
Wait,
Maverick,
what one sucks? Say that again.
that B team theme that sound like something out of a high school pep rally.
Oh,
Oh.
B Team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They should have
Oh my
kept
God.
battle scars, and I'm
BT.
still gonna stick with that to
Oh.
this day. You stop that.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
That
Anyway,
hurt.
but I mean, right now, I mean, I still hate that freaking Dane and Maverick music. I'm with Wade Barrett on this one. But yeah, I'm gonna go with B Team as far as the worst. As far as my favorite, there's been some good ones, that's for sure. I mean, you picked definitely one of my all-time favorites in Triple H's "Time to Play the Game." That definitely was up there for me. That's a loaded question. Looking at all-time favorites. I mean, Batista's "I Walk Alone." I kind of can relate to that because again, I do walk alone. I literally am
there you
alone.
go. Ooh.
So I think I'll go with that as one of my all-time favorites. So
I think
tonight,
Xavier Woods did
I Walk
that.
Alone. Now, as far as what I would come out to, I'm simple, I'm casual, I'm nothing spectacular or special. Leonard Skinner, Simple Man.
Yes. I had a feeling you were gonna pick that.
'Cause that's what everybody says that I should
Yeah.
come out.
Be a simple kind of man.
It is casual.
Jack, what you got?
So I have a lot of experience. When I get to what I walk out to, I'll go through my thought process. But you both Simple Man Noah and PD Moss have said Triple H is time to play
Oh,
the
I
game.
haven't said
But
anything yet.
I said the other Noah,
Oh, okay.
Simple Man.
We're gonna have
Oh,
to
okay,
find a way to
sorry.
distinguish this.
But I think you forgot the 1, 2. This one.
Oh
Not
wow.
his-
Nice, my
Y'all
time.
forgot his old theme. I think that one's so much better than it's not time to play the game for me. It's 1, 2. This one.
What is the name of that artist?
Oh God, that's a good question. I'll have to look this up.
feel like
Is
a
it
piece of shit
Jim?
for not knowing
Whatever.
I don't think Jim Johnstone produced that. I think they got a separate rapper to come in and make the rap his song.
It does say it was by Jim Johnston, according to the soundtrack, The Attitude Era Volume 2.
Huh. I think they brought in someone separate.
Oh, they had
Besides
to. There's
Jim.
no way Jim
They had
Johnston did that. Come on
Oh,
now.
At least
Come
Like
on,
clearly
man.
he produced the background music. So yeah,
Yeah.
they brought in somebody.
But that's not my favorite theme. My favorite theme, this one's very near and dear to me. My first wrestling show, the main event, it was SmackDown. Main event was Batista, Undertaker, in a steel cage match. It was a draw. Undertaker retains. What's this? Oh, here comes Mark Henry. Whoa, hey. And then what's this? You think you know me?
Meddling. Yes.
Yup. I see Edge cash in that Money in the Bank, and I hated him.
You saw that live?
I didn't see it live. That was my first that was my first real exposure to wrestling.
Oh wow.
That is a good
I've been on a
song.
massive Alter
And
Bridge kick
since
that I was
then,
talking about.
hearing it when he returned this Royal Rumble, and I heard "You Think You Know Me," that was it. I popped.
Oh,
I was
cried.
so up. I was mad at that Rumble. I was mad Brock Lesnar was in it, but man, I just heard those words, and memories just came flooding back. So that's my
Right.
all-time favorite. Now,
It definitely was a memorable moment this year for everybody that was a WWE fan.
Yes.
The internet lost its mind.
I lost my mind. Now, for me being a former backyard wrestler, when I would go and pick a song, I'd think of my pacing. How do I want to come out to this? And recently, I've been on the Alter Bridge band. I've been standing them
Train.
low key,
I
but
have
not
to-
for Metalingus. It's Ties That Bind right now. Because for me, I want to get out there ASAP. I'm walking in there. I'm not showboating as much. I'm a very serious character. I try to be a very serious character. And that song is just so quick. It gets through very quickly to where 30 seconds in, I can already hit the ring, do my old pose, and then that's it. We can get started. It's very quick. That's the song I'd walk out to right now.
That's a good song.
Hell yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
the simple guitar in it, and then a kick picks up. You hear the vocal. You got to go, yeah. And
Tell me
then
off the top of
boom,
my
that's
head
it.
what off the top of your head what album that song, because I can't remember.
I think it's Blackbird.
It is Blackbird.
Matter of fact, I know it's Blackbird.
I knew I was gonna know immediately when you told me.
Because that's on my playlist on Spotify, and I'm looking at that right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
No,
They're good. They're really
they're
good.
so good. They're so good.
Miles Kennedy's got the voice of an angel.
Absolutely.
Good
All right,
picks.
Noah.
Good picks.
Now
Now,
I might have an idea of what you might pick to walk out to, but maybe it's changed over the years.
it definitely has changed over the years.
Okay.
I've thought of many different things, whether it be rap music for my own entrance or alternative rock or whatever. But I'll get to myself later. With my favorite of all time, you guys have said two of them. Jack, you took Edges. Pete, you took Triple H's. Awesome. There's so many I could think of, whether it be CM Punk's Cult of Personality, or Stone Cold Steve Austin's I Won't Do What You Tell Me. I think that's what the name of that theme song is just the glass breaking and the
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was the one theme. I know what you're talking about.
If I were to pick my favorite theme song in regards to an entrance, hold on. Now the guys in the Royal Rumble are beating up John Cena, so that's fantastic.
Motel John.
See, that's tough. It's because like Jack, it's like there's so many emotional moments of hearing Edge's theme song and seeing the smoke, and that's a fire theme. But if I have to shit.
Put yourself on the spot. You're the last one. You had the longest time. Spit it out.
No joke. Come on.
Yeah, if I had the longest time to think about it, well, it's because you guys stole some of mine. I mean,
this is what happens with wrestling fans. You agree to disagree. So pick the number 4.
I'll fucking say D-Generation X's theme song.
All right, there you go. Break it down.
That is a Are You Ready? And then so that whole theme is fucking lit. Least favorite, I would say, is Alberto Del Rio's theme song, because fuck him.
Okay, that sounds more like
that's my least favorite. And then
I saw that coming. I should have seen that coming.
And then Jack, if I were to come up to a theme, because me not being a wrestler, being a manager, if I could just basically come out on my own segment every single week and talk shit, I need a good
You had
theme.
3 matches in your career. Come on now.
Yeah, and let's not bring that up.
And we won. We won one of them. Don't you worry.
Those are staying in the vault, and they are not seeing the light of day. Fuck. Anywho, if I were to be living the dream and WWE, I would need my own theme song, and I would go with "Tub Thumping" by Chumbawamba.
Nice. Oh yeah, again. You sound like you would have a fun time with Session Mark Martinez, just drinking beers together while walking out to the ring.
We'll be singing. When I get knocked down. That's basically me every single week. I talk shit. Someone puts their finisher on me, and I keep getting back up. It's perfect.
It's a lot of things. Soda Bang. Songs that remind them of the good times. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
I like all these options.
There you go.
What?
We can make some pyro with this.
We have a few minutes left. We've been going for a little bit.
Yes.
Anything else anyone wanted to bring to the table before we call it a night?
Yes.
Pete.
So next Saturday, October 24th, a lot of things going on on this day. First off, I'm going to list the most obvious one. It's the return of Ohio State football, if it matters to you. Then the next one, we got Bound for Glory.
Yes.
So yes, it's going to be awesome. Now, I would never discourage anybody from watching professional wrestling, but if or football for that matter, but if by chance neither of these things are your thing, the football game's a new game. And you by chance are in the area of Troy, Ohio, near Dayton. I am actually going to be playing a show over at a place called the Vault Tavern. It's going to be a good time. There'll even be a costume contest. Stop by and see me. We can talk about some pro wrestling or anything you want to talk about. I'm a pretty nice guy. No, I don't bite unless you ask one of these guys. They might talk some shit about me.
Billy Gunn. He's a nice man.
On their leisure.
He's a nice. He's a man for sure.
It's gonna be a good time, man. Starts at 6:30. As far as I know, there is no cover. So definitely come check it out. It's going to be a good time. So come check
Hey,
it
if you're
out.
not following us on social media, we do have an Instagram and a Twitter.
Definitely
Which
check the box.
Check the box. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It means the world to us. We're working to get constant uploads up every single week.
Constant uploads. We are.
Well,
will
next
eventually
Sunday,
stream live.
you may want to reschedule because I'm just going to say right now, we got next Sunday, guys. And I say, of course, I do the forum for No DQ Predictions League and Galaxy League. Let's start our own Sauce League. I mean, technically, WWE, they're starting the new season, right? Even though they're supposed to start, you would think, every beginning of the calendar year. Let's do a sauce and predicting type thing for Hell in the Cell and see get the most picks once the card is fully done. I say we make a deadline by end of Saturday night, if applicable. Because we know Sunday morning they're going to add bullshit matches that don't matter to the kickoff show. It's a fact of life. But yeah, we got Hell in the Cell next week Sunday too.
We have 3 Hell in a Cell matches, by the way.
We are always trying to expand in any way we can. Some of that comes down to making our technology better. Unless it's Noah, I saw his rig. It's awesome. And then it's me with a dog shit Chromebook. We're always looking to make your experience better. That's why we were on for 3 months.
Folks. Shout out to my friend Cindy G for always plugging this too when I do Instagram Live with her. She always plugs this up.
So definitely,
good to hear.
So next week we got Bound for Glory. We got OSU football. We got me playing at the Vault Tavern in Troy, Ohio. So everything's gonna be good.
Hey, looking forward to next weekend, boys. We have yet another week of pro wrestling ahead of us. We have a pay-per-view upcoming next Sunday, which we're able to not only give our reactions the following week, but also give our predictions that night prior to. So definitely looking forward to it. This is going to be awesome, boys. We're going to call it a night there. If you got a glass in your hand, raise it. Pro wrestling, we're a barbecue. You can count on us. The sauce. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy.